Good evening, everyone. We are here doing another Kickstart This, and we've got a new book, Dust Pirates, to talk to you guys about. And we have got the two writers and creators on, Kevin Cuffe and Bob Frantz. Welcome to the show, you guys.
Hey, thanks for having us on, Ben.
Yes, thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ben.
Most definitely. One of the things we like to do is scour the internet, find some projects that we like and that look great, and then of course have you guys on to talk about yourselves and about the books, and of course how people watching this can support you. The most important part, because you have an active Kickstarter right now, 20 days to go, and it's called Dust Pirates. Well, before we get to Dust Pirates, let me talk to you guys a little bit about you. What's your origin with comic books? What made you want to do this? When did you start reading?
You want to go first, Bob, or you want
you can go first, Kev. You already started talking, my man.
All right. So my dad was in World War II. So in World War II, they made the vets read comics. So when he came home, he figured that was a great way to get me to read, and it worked. And it stuck with me ever since I was. He was reading them to me until we left New York. So I was buying comics off of spinner racks ever since I was a wee lad.
and the love has just been there since.
Pretty much. I of course, there's going to be times where you leave or come back. You know, when I was a teenager, I left during the 90s for a little while, but I came back around again.
Okay. And well, then what made you decide that you wanted to start creating? Because, I mean, we have a lot of people who read comics here, but not everyone takes that leap, even if they have an idea.
I'll let Bob handle this one.
Oh, man. Why do I get the tough questions?
Well, then let's go back. What's your origin with comic books?
Man, my origin is really simple. It was basically 1989's Batman. Like, that was it for me. That was my jumping off point. And I know I'm 43 years old, and I know for a lot of people of my generation, that was the thing. I didn't have any older brothers. My dad didn't read comics. Like, he was too busy listening to like Billy Joel records to really kind of get into comics. But so I saw 1989's Batman. My dad took me and my sister, and I was just mesmerized. My eyes were just glued to the screen for 2 hours. And as soon as we left the movie, I told my dad, I was like, I need to know everything about that. So there was a local bookstore in Virginia Beach, Virginia, which is where I grew up. And we went to, it was called Smith Books. And I went to Smith Books and I found every Batman comic I could buy. And that's how it started. I just started reading comics, and I've been, like Kevin said, I kind of fell in and out of it as my life progressed. Around 2006, I got sober. I stopped drinking. And then I found out that I had all this extra money that I needed to spend on things. So I just started buying comics again. And right around then was Millar's. And I forget the artist's name, and people are going to kill me on the internet for it, but Civil War had launched.
Yes, with Quinitor.
Yes, and that was the thing that got me back into comics. Somebody was like, hey, man, did you know the Avengers are fighting? And I said, no, I need to know all about this. So then I've kind of been in ever since, and it's been a lot of fun.
Okay, and then this brings us back to the question I had asked before.
Mm-hmm.
What made you decide that you wanted to start creating, and what made you decide that you two wanted to start creating together?
Well, that's two different questions. I got the idea to start creating comic books. I've always been interested in writing. I've always been interested in writing dialogue. I wanted to be like a filmmaker and all that stuff at one point in my life. But then again, when I got sober, I had a lot of free time. Like, this is, you'll see this is kind of, a very similar story for me. I had a friend who was super into comics and who was writing comics kind of on the side. And he was like, hey, have you ever thought about writing comics? And I said, yeah, I actually have. And he said, well, let's start doing this together. So him and I started tinkering around with some ideas. He went one way, I went the other way, but I kept just doing it because I enjoyed the process. I enjoyed the creative process. It's just something that I've always been a fan of as a writer who used to try to write prose and stuff like that in poetry. I found the creative process fulfilling and rewarding. So then I just did it, and I put out a book that wasn't very good, like in 2009. And then Kevin and I hooked up like in 2015.
Wait, before we get to you two hooking up, what was the book that you put out in 2009?
It was called 41. I made the mistake that every first-time comic creator makes. As opposed to doing a 5-page short story, I said, I'm going to do a 4-page mini-series, a 4-issue mini-series. And I've never written anything before in my whole life, and I'm just going to do it, which is cool that I actually accomplished it. But it wasn't very good because I didn't have an editor. My letterer wasn't very good on the first couple issues. The art was good. The artist of the first book was a fella named Pablo Pepino, who you may know. He did the book Skies of Fire. Pablo's fantastic. I was punching well above my weight at that point, but I just kept doing it because I really enjoyed doing it. Like I said, Kevin and I hooked up through a mutual friend, a fellow by the name of Drew Moss, who you may or may not know. He's worked for IDW and I think the last thing Drew was doing was Kevin. What was Drew doing last?
Vampirella and Red Sonja.
So Kevin and I hooked up through him. And I'll let Kevin tell the rest of the story because I've been talking entirely too long, Ben.
I started writing comics in about 2014. The first thing I did without Bob was a fantasy western called Oathbound, which we also kickstarted. And it was more like if you took Dungeons and Dragons and you mixed it with the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so that's something I have been doing with an artist named Paul Gorey. And we're still good friends to this day. But it was just not the right time, or it was harder to get out than we thought it would. And with no one picking it up and constantly having to kickstart issue to issue, it just became kind of a harder thing to do. And in the process of making that comic, I had met Bobby. And Bobby and I met at a con in Altoona, Pennsylvania.
That's right.
And it was probably to this day, I think it stands to be the worst con the two of us have ever been to, which we won't name names, but it was just a bad con. And we bonded through a traumatic experience and became the Word Bros.
Yeah.
and so the word bros were born out of that dramatic experience. That's awesome. And then you guys, you worked together. What got you going on the first book together? The Metalshark.
The first book we actually did was a book with Rachel Ordway. Was Jerry Ordway's daughter. We didn't even know she was Jerry Ordway's daughter when we hired her. We just liked her artwork. And then one of our friends was like, that's Jerry Ordway's kid, right? I was like, oh my God, that's the best accident ever. But we did this book called The Elvis Adventures, which is like it's silly, but it's a really fun premise. Elvis Presley. There's a group of aliens who come down believing that Elvis Presley is the king of the world because it gets mixed up in translation, but he's just the king of rock and roll. So Elvis Presley ends up fighting off like an alien invasion, and it was just a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun doing it. There's a giant banana and a sword named after his mama, and a purple
Cadillac.
A purple Cadillac. Like it's absurdist, kind of goofy fun, which is kind of the perfect lead into Metalshark Bro, because we had a lot of fun doing that book. And then Kevin and I created what became known as Metalshark Bro in late 2017. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a fun. Yeah.
So yeah, not too long ago. And now you kickstarted it first, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. So you kickstarted Metalshark Bro, it funded, but then you were able to take this to Scout Comics.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Because Scout has been gaining a lot of traction lately too. This is a good publisher, and they've consistently had good product, and they're finally getting a lot of notice. So this is great because you've got trades available from them too that retailers can get.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Scout came to us through Walter Osley, the artist on Metalshark Bro. He had another book already at Scout called Shiver Bureau that he happened to kickstart, and it's a great book. We met Walter I met Walter at a Heroes Con probably the year before or so, and I kept telling him he should work with us, but he was like, I'm a cartoonist, I do my own stories. He was basically not like opposed to it, but he wasn't really welcoming the idea. But I really loved Walter's art.
He wasn't chomping at the bit to do it. Like he was like, dude, I don't need you guys. I can draw and write. I don't need you bums.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it was at first. But eventually we convinced him to do it, and we gave him 2 scripts to read. He liked both of the scripts. There were 2 different scripts, and he ended up deciding that he really, really liked the Metalshark Bro one. And his gonzo art sort of fit the way we were trying to portray the story. So, and his initial sketches and stuff are in the back of that first book, and they're just amazing. So they only got better from there.
Yeah.
So and as they got better, like then he started drawing the actual stuff in the book, and it was amazing. So.
And can you give them a little rundown on what they can expect from Metalshark Bro?
Metalshark Bro is totally like bat crazy. Like, I don't know if I can swear on this, so I'm not gonna. But Metalshark Bro is just bonkers. Like, that's what we were going for. That's what we wanted to do. Metalshark Bro is simple. It's a Faustian tale. This young man in the very beginning, and the Metalshark Bro is perfect because in the first 3 pages of this book, you'll decide if you like it or not. Like, you can just tell right off the bat. There's these 2 heavy metal bros that are on a boat, that are on a yacht. And they're talking about, man, we made a deal with the devil. Now we're famous rock and roll stars. This has been the best week of our whole lives. They go to high five each other. They miss. One of them falls into the water and gets eaten by a shark, okay? Because a shark is just going to do what a shark does. It eats this guy that falls into the water. It smelled the blood. He ate him. So then all of a sudden, Satan's douchey nephew, it's all nepotism, Beelzebub shows up and he's like, hey, man, you ate this dude who was going to be a soldier in the army of Satan. So I'm going to turn you into Metalshark Bro. Now you have to take his place. And Metalshark Bro obviously doesn't want to be this crazy shark man. He just wants to be a shark. So he said, and Beelzebub says, look, if you go out and collect these souls for me, I will change you back. So Metalshark Bro does what he's asked to do. And of course, no deal with the devil is ever easy. Beelzebub tricks him. So Metalshark Bro goes on a horrid killing spree of revenge to try to get back at Beelzebub. It's a lot of fun. Like, it's just, it's goofy. It's silly. We wanted to do something that was just kind of escapism, kind of absurdist humor. So we just kind of packed everything we ever wanted to do into volume 1, because we didn't even think we'd get to make volume 1. We were just excited that it funded because, you know, Kevin and I have kind of a smaller profile. So when we did a $25,000 Kickstarter for this trade and funded, it was kind of bonkers. So we just shoved everything we wanted to do in there because, again, it's one of those things that if you buy into it, you're in. You're not going to flip through the pages of Metalshark Bro and go, Demon Donuts, this is the dumbest, and just be done with it, because that happens 30 pages into the book. So once you buy into it, you're good to go. And then as creatives, Kevin and I can take you anywhere we want to go because you already dig the premise. There's a lot of safety and fun in that as a storyteller because nothing is too far. And so we just keep going and going and going and going and going. And so one day we may fall off that ledge, but if we get there, that would be still pretty cool because that means we made a lot of Metalshark Bro.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is a fantastic Kickstarter. I mean, coming out the gate like that. I mean, my God,
that was all Kevin's idea. That was all Kevin's idea. It was all Kevin's idea.
That's not necessarily true. We figured it. No,
the credit.
All right, but we figured out how much the book would cost, and like Bob and Walter were both like, I don't know about this, and I was like, well, like, screw it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? We just don't get the money, so why not just try? If we try and we fail, no one's gonna rib us for failing at a $25,000 Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So we're not going to get any shame for that. So
luckily the premise caught on. I think that a lot has to do with Walter's artwork. Like, it's so dynamic and so fun. And the design, Metalshark Bro's design is so great. And so I think that caught a lot of people's eye. But then the cool part about Metalshark Bro was it's actually very well written. Like, the jokes work. People say, why do I like the character? Like, I love this character. It's a shark man, but he feels so real. And the relationship he has with the floating eyeball with wings feels so real. And that was all done by design. Like, Kevin and I really worked hard to make Metalshark Bro feel as real and their friendship as real as possible. So I'm just really happy that it worked out, and it's really led us to a lot of opportunities. How we hooked up with Scout, like Kevin said, was because of Walter Osley. So, and our relationship with Scout has been fantastic. Charlie and James and all those dudes, they're so supportive and they're so much fun to work with, and they just believe in everything we do. Like Charlie Stickney from White Ash, who's also like one of the publishers, he heaped so much praise on Kevin and I for Metalshark Bro about the writing. It's like, dude, back up. Like, your check's in the mail, bro. I promise. Like, we're gonna get you that check for all the nice things you say about us. But it's been a lot of fun, and it's been a cool journey. We've made 2 trades because we kickstarted the first version. It went well, so we did volume 2 in 2019. 2020, we did a spinoff, which was Ninja Nuns. The Ninja Nuns first appeared in Metalshark Bro 1. That was the question we got asked more than anything else, Kevin. Like, people were just, dude, tell me more about these Ninja Nuns. I need to know more about these Ninja Nuns. So Kevin and I, during the pandemic, we decided to just do a book, like a short. Like, we just did a short book, like 40 pages, a little anthology piece. We ran that out on Kickstarter to keep the momentum going, and that was super fun. And here we are again, back on Kickstarter with this Dust Pirates, baby.
Yes, because I mean, but before we go on to Dust Pirates, which we're going to do next,
yes, sir.
Just so everyone who is out there watching knows, you can get Metalshark Bro still. Talk to your local retailer, let them know you want it. They can get it through Diamond or Lunar, because Scout's going through both. So, or you can check their website. And what is the shop name?
Oh man, you got me. It is, hang on. It is shopthewordbros.square.site. Or if you want, perfect segue, you can pick up those books on the Kickstarter, because we're offering them as tiers for our Kickstarter for Dust Pirates.
Even better, because they got 20 days to go on this thing. So then let's talk Dust Pirates, because that's why we're really here. It's active, as I said. There's 20 days left to go, so plenty of time for people to get in on this. Why don't you guys tell us what this is and how it came about?
Sure. Dust Pirates is kind of like an action pulp adventure, like a summer comic. Like the old summer movies that we used to get when we were kids. We wanted to do something pulpy and fun, but still had, like, the good guys are good guys, the bad guys are bad guys, but we want to kind of give it an update, a fresh coat of paint, if you will. So we wanted to do that with, like, the old kind of stories that you would read, like Flash Gordon or even Conan or something like that, but give it more of a pulpy feel, an updated coat of paint, and, like, more fun, more like things you haven't seen before. So these two guys who are pirates, Sam Bellemy and Quinitor Hendricks, get transported to Atlantis. But Atlantis, like most things in life, is not like it seems. Atlantis is dry because there's been a war, and there's an ecological devastation happening in Atlantis, and it's due to these warring factions. So this water mage pulls the two of them down to help with what's going on in Atlantis. And it's to overthrow a guy who's hoarding the water, who's a dictator named Xsicor.
Okay, and is this for a complete collection?
Yes, sir.
It's 80 pages. It's a complete book.
Yes, sir. Yeah. We fell in love with pulp. At least I did. Kevin loves the story. I just love the format of 80 pages. Here's your story, one and done. And so we wanted to kind of do something like that. Like, we're going to give you an 80-page novella. You're going to read it. You're going to love it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're just going to kind of go from there. So yeah, you get the whole kit and caboodle right there.
So you get the full trade. And yes, what else can you get? Because you guys have a ton of variants covers.
Yes.
I mean, yes. And you guys have Liana Congus, which is amazing.
Well, it helps to know big people in big places. Liana's so cool. We've had her on our podcast, Word Bros, and she's just so supportive and active in the community. We asked her to do a Ninja Nuns cover, and she did that, and she banged it out, and we were super supportive of her. And she was like, "You guys are pretty great. Like, we should work together in the future." But Liana's just super busy because she's got 1,000 things going on. So anytime we want to kickstart something, we always go back to Liana because she's super cool, and we know she's going to knock it out of the park. I mean, look at that cover. It's beautiful.
That cover right there is Liana's cover.
That cover is beautiful. So we just decided to kind of keep working on covers and stuff together until we can actually do a book. Liana's supposed to draw for her Patreon. I don't know. It's top secret, so I shouldn't say, but we sent her a script that she wants to draw for her Patreon supporters. So she's working on that too, on top of the thousands of other things that she's doing. Yeah, but we got some really great covers. Liana Kangas, Kaylin Smith, who you know from Kevin, what's the book she's done?
Plume.
From Plume.
Yes.
She's very cool. She was really easy to work with. We're also working with Joe Mulvey, who we know. We know Joe from Wailing Blade and from the Comics Tribe group. There's a couple other people as well that are.
Matt Chater did a cover.
Eisner nominated Mac Chater did a cover, which is pretty cool.
Who did Sword Daughter? And he's like, "Can I do a Struzan thing?" That's Mac's cover there.
Yeah.
And I really like that cover a lot. Like, I feel like that's the most underrated one that we have. I really love what he did there. It feels like a movie poster, a summer movie poster from when we were kids, and I think that that's amazing. And then Right above that one is the Jason Copeland cover with the giant fish on it. That's
God, I
Jason
love that
Copeland.
cover so much.
And it's so great. And Jason Copeland, he's done stuff with Dark Horse and Marvel. He did Kill All Monsters. Yeah. So
yeah. And he's Canadian, and he's a really nice fellow. We play a Star Wars role-playing game with Jason. And Jason also did a cover for Dust Pirates. So we just love his artwork. And one thing Jason is good at is drawing monsters. So we said, hey, man, you want to do this for us? And he did it, and it's beautiful. Nice. So we can't get any better than that.
So aside from just the variants, you have some other things that are offered, including getting drawn in the book.
Yeah, we figured, hey, man, everybody wants to be a pirate, right? Like that's a pretty great reward. Tony's going to draw you in the end of the book as a member of Quinitor and Sam's crew. So that'll be pretty neat. It's just, we've got books that we've done before. Like I said, you can get Metalshark Bro Volume 1 and 2. We have a glow-in-the-dark enamel pins that Kevin talked me into that I totally didn't want to do. But because Kevin's a giant child, and he was like, we have to have glow-in-the-dark pins. And I said, why? We don't need glow-in-the-dark pins. And Kevin was like, no.
People want glow-in-the-dark pins.
We need them.
So we were able to do glow-in-the-dark pins. Tony designed the pin, so it's like a skull. It's like an Atlantean skull and crossbones that'll glow in the dark. So it's pretty sweet. So yeah, man, we're just trying to roll it all out and get to our goal so we can make this book. So we're really excited about it. There's a lot of great awards. You could be on our podcast. You could be on the Word Bros podcast, which could be pretty fun. Creators, if you have books you want that are coming out, if you're running your own Kickstarter, you can come on and talk about that. And we'll talk to you for like 45 minutes about your Kickstarter and your process and stuff. So it's kind of fun.
That's awesome. You guys got your hands in a lot of stuff as well, evidently, with the podcast, the writing. My God. And you have a Star Trek podcast.
Yes.
Yes.
Which is amazing.
Yes. Ben, you've clearly never listened to it before if you think it's amazing. We're coming up on our 10-year anniversary. We've been doing this podcast
crazy
for 10 years. It's called Dork Trek. What happened was, not to get into it too much, but I used to do commercial radio. I had a radio career that ended when Arbitron switched from a diary to a PPM, which is a people meter. So then I said, you know what? I'm not done doing radio yet. I'm going to start a podcasting network. This was in 2011. So we started a bunch of different podcasts. We had a Star Trek podcast. We had a zombie podcast. My wife had like a mommy podcast. And then we did another one. The other podcast kind of fell apart over time, but we've just continued doing the Star Trek podcast because at the end of the day, it's just an excuse to watch Star Trek. We watch and review episodes. We started with Next Generation. We did all of Next Generation. We did all of Deep Space Nine, and now we're doing Voyager. We're about 4 episodes into the second season on Voyager, and I got to be honest with you, Ben, we might not make it through Voyager because so far it ain't very good.
It gets better. It definitely does.
I hope it does, man, because some of these episodes are just awful. But we're battling through it. We haven't updated the website in some time because we just do it through what's it called? But yeah, we're on episode 399. So we've almost done 400 episodes. We've been doing it for 10 years. It's a lot of fun. We have a really good time doing it. So
now, why before we get back to why we're really here, why did you skip the first Star Trek?
Because at the time TNG, oddly enough, it's just like the way the universe comes together. TNG had just hit Netflix. It was that long ago. TNG had just hit Netflix. So we were like, hey, let's start with this one because I always felt like TOS has been, it's the one that's been talked about the most. It's the one that's been analyzed the most. I mean, who knows what kind of new and fresh takes we could have brought to that. So we decided to do TNG. And it was also because I had just had a daughter. My daughter, who is now 10, was born a couple months before that. And when you first have a new child, the only thing you do is sit around and stare at your child and like watch TV. So I was just watching Star Trek. I was watching like 6 episodes a day. I was just hanging out watching Star Trek on DVD. And I said, you know what, man, after I got canned, I was like, dude, let's do a Star Trek podcast. It would be fun. Like, let's just do it. So we just started with TNG also because it was the one that was most fresh in my mind because I was watching it nonstop. So that's why.
All right, that is fair. So Dust Pirates, though, let's give them a little sample because this was a fun video you guys did.
Oh man,
yeah. If we can pull up the video and take a peek at what their presentation for the Kickstarter is. That would be awesome.
Hey, Tony.
Hey, what's up, Kev? What's going on, man?
Hey, just get ready to record this Dust Pirates video for the Kickstarter.
Yeah, I've been stoked thinking about it all day. Where's Bob?
He'll be here in a second. But
he looks super
been
stoked.
a little different.
That's the best part about it, I think.
And he's kind of acting funny.
What do you mean acting funny? Is he right?
Not like comical funny, but well, you'll see.
Okay.
Arr, you scallywags, Tony and Kevin. I'll have you walking the plank if you don't back this Kickstarter. I'm ready to do this video, you barnacle brains. So let's get started. Yarr.
Yeah.
Yar, The Dust Pirates is a tale about two pirates, Blackheart Sam Bellemy and his first mate Quinitor, as they travel to the dusty terrain known as Atlantis. Yar.
Yeah, that's
The book is illustrated beautifully by that scallywag, Tony Gregori, and colored by that old sea dog, Josh Jensen. Yar.
You even
With
sound
letters
like
and edits by
Barbosa.
our first mate, Mr. Pangburn. Our two pirates are brought there by a mysterious water mage known as Ysennia to help her overthrow an evil and cruel dictator. Fans of Indiana Jones, Conan the Barbarian, Flash Gordon, or Starlight are sure to love this tale of danger and action that Kevin, Cuffe, and Bob Frantz have weaved together. When you slap down your doubloons, you're bound to get some great booty, such as glow-in-the-dark enamel pins, variant covers from some of the hottest artists working in comics today, like Eisner-nominated artist Mac Chatter, Ringo-nominated artist Liana Kangas, everyone's favorite Canadian Jason Copeland, Kaylin Smith, and that son of a biscuit eater, Joe Mulvey. Yarr. And if that's not enough for you scallywags, Tony Gregori will actually draw you in the book, and you can be a member of Blackheart Sam Bellemy's crew.
I hope you enjoyed the Kickstarter video, matey. Thanks for watching. And if you don't back the book, we'll have you walking the plank. Yarr.
Kev, should we call somebody?
Yeah, no, only if the Kickstarter doesn't fund.
Yarr.
There you go. That's it.
And that is it. That gives them everything they need to know. You guys have actually been pretty blessed with some amazing artists because Tony's artwork looks incredible on the inside.
Yeah.
We're always punching above our weight.
We are. Well, we met Tony through the podcast. We had him on. We had him on Word Bros because he had a book coming out with Vault.
Yeah, he did Duece of Hearts at Vault. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had him on, and then we just afterwards, you know how they go after the podcast, you just kind of sit around and chit chat. And so, what are you working on next? You know, yada yada yada. We got this thing, we got that thing, and Tony. We just kind of hooked up with Tony, and it was really cool, man. He's a great guy. Like his art is fantastic, but he's a better person, which is really fun. He's very caring. He started sending us all these designs, and every design he sent us, Ben, was better than the last one, and they were fantastic. And Kevin and I can't speak for Kevin, but I can talk for myself. Like, I was feeling pressure. I was like, dude, we got to make a really good book or Tony's going to kill us. Like, his artwork is so good.
He did this design of Xsicor's like crystal castle because it was supposed to be like made out of coral and crystal. And he was like, I have this other idea for it. He's like, I'm going to sketch it out. And then he sketched it. And it's in if you look on his Twitter at Tony G on Twitter, you can see it. It's like, it's up there. There's one, and it looked like almost like what's the guy's name? I'm blanking on the artist's name, but it looked like The guy who drew Frankenstein Alive from IDW, Bernie Wrightson.
Okay.
It looked like a Bernie Wrightson type of design because it was that detailed and stuff. And when I said that to Tony, he was like, "It doesn't look anything like Bernie Wrightson," but like to me, to my untrained non-artist eyes, it did because it's there. There's a lot of line work and stuff in there, and I was like, "Wow, that's really cool." So.
Yeah, and then the cool part is Tony started working on this book back in like 2018, but that's just how comics start. Like, it takes forever to make comics. That's the one thing. If you're listening to this and you're trying to become a comic creator, you're a writer, you're an artist, it takes forever. So because we started this in 2018, then Metalshark Bro kind of took off. So we did that for a while. Then we came back to this because Tony got busy and we were busy. So now we have some free time in our schedule. So we want to get this thing up and going. And the Kickstarter's been really good. We're having a really good time with it. We're over 50% funded. We've got 20 some odd days left. We're going to get there. It might be tight, but I think we're going to get there. It's going to take a lot of nonstop tweeting, which if you follow either Kevin and I on Twitter, I apologize. I know it's obnoxious. I know you hate us, but no one else is going to do this but us. Like, this is our job as creators. So we're just pumping it nonstop. And the fun part about it is trying to find little goals. So you can tweet about, only 3 more people till we get to 185, or, oh, snap, we're $6 away from 2,115. So you find these weird little goals to keep tweeting about. And you just do it and run it out and see what happens. But like I said, we've gotten pretty lucky so far. We're at 200 people, which is awesome. So we're just gonna keep doing it.
Nice. Well, you guys have had great success before, so here's to some more on this one right here.
Thank you, Ben.
Yes, again, in 20 days, everyone, do not wait. Go over and check it out right now. Find out what they have. Look at the tiers, and then see what you like. And, of course, you can get the Metalshark stuff there, too.
That's right. Now, tell us, how does the hot sauce come into this? Because we came across your podcast because it was like, there was hot sauce in there somewhere. I was like, dude, this is the perfect podcast for Kevin because we used to drink hot sauce during our old campaigns.
Because you like drank some what was it, scorpion or ghost pepper?
Ghost pepper hot sauce. I would do shots of ghost pepper hot sauce for pledges on the first Metalshark Bro because the book is about a shark man and hell. So why not make it hot? So like I was like, I'll buy some really hot sauce. And for every person that pledges at $50 or above, we do like a Facebook Live. And Bobby would come in there and tell me how many people pledged. And that's how many shots I would have to do with that ghost pepper sauce.
Now, are you a hot sauce fan, or was this just torture for you?
There's a story behind that, too. So funny enough, like being that there's stories. We went to a place in Kentucky. We were doing a con in Kentucky. Bobby and I and our friend that he mentioned earlier that we met through Drew. And we were doing a con in Louisville. Well, no, it wasn't Louisville.
Lexington. It was Lexington,
Kentucky. And we went to Joella's, it's a chicken and waffles place, but they do chicken. Their chicken's what they're famous for.
Joella's hot chicken, baby.
So that's what the name of the place was. So everybody else got regular chicken, and I walk up there and I'm going for the 5-alarm chicken, and they're like, what? And they're like, well, nobody. And they rang the bell. They made a big production out of it. So I got it. I come back to the table. I'm eating the hot chicken, and I'm like, it's not that hot. And like, Drew's like, can I try some of that? So he tries some of it and spits expletives out of his mouth at me and was like, that's really hot. Like, you're just eating it like it's nothing. And I was like, okay, I didn't even think about any of that until we're doing the Kickstarter. I'm like, well, I could eat really hot things that I didn't even know was a skill, was when my mutant power surfaced. So I didn't know that was a skill. So like, why not just try and drink different hot sauces for the Kickstarter?
Nice. Well, next time you should have Kevin do it. Or I'm sorry, Bob do it.
No. My nose starts to run really bad when I eat hot sauce, and I start hiccuping. I don't know. Are you a hiccuper when you eat hot stuff? Like you just start?
No.
I start to hiccup because I feel like my body is trying to get whatever it is that I just put into it out of it as quickly as possible.
I want it to be gone. So no, we carry a selection of hot sauce because I absolutely love hot sauce. But everywhere I go, I see the same 4 or 5 bottles. It's always the same stuff. So I started reaching out to hot sauce companies in the Sacramento area, then California, and then expanded out to ones I knew I liked. And I brought it in thinking, I'm gonna do it for me, and if nobody else likes it, then I've got hot sauce at retail. But it's taken off. Like comic fans who were never into it have been discovering that there's stuff they like because there's all levels of heat. Mm-hmm. We have a whole clientele now that don't care about the comics; they just go straight for the hot sauce. So it's worked out wonderful.
What's your level of hot? Then I'm wondering.
I like it really hot. I don't want I don't like the stuff with the extract in it, mm-hmm. where it just absolutely destroys it. Now, that not being said, I do have some because it's great for like marinade or like a couple mm-hmm. drops in a whole thing of chili. Mm-hmm. But I like the hot, like some ghost pepper or scorpion, but I like it where it still has the flavor. You can still taste the pepper or the garlic or whatever's in there.
That's awesome.
And they're mentioned toe of Satan. That is something that I did. Have you tried that before?
What's that?
The toe of Satan.
No, I have not.
Okay, that's something I did at the end of the Metalshark Bro Kickstarter. I said if we funded that I would do it, and it's 9 million Scoville units, and it was really, really hot. And Bob and Drew were both worried for my safety when I did it, but I did complete the full 5 minutes. I went the full time.
Now you did a whole what did you do? A shot of it?
No, the toe of Satan is a lollipop, and it's 9. Okay. It's 9 million Scoville units. It's like it's like super super hot cinnamon candy. It made me cry. It made me sweat, and nothing else. Even a Reaper hasn't made me cry.
You changed complexion too, like all the kind of
redness. Made me shake. It made me shake. My hand was shaking.
All the redness in Kevin's face kind of just disappeared, and he went kind of pale and sweaty. And we were worried about him, but he just kept going and going.
He got through it.
He got through it because he's a man of his word.
I will have to get one of those then. Oh, look at that.
That's my daughter, Sophie. Say hello.
Oh, okay. Hey.
Yes.
So it's up now, guys. Go visit it. Go check it out. And I don't think we're getting any hot sauce rewards on your Kickstarter this time.
It depends. It depends how desperate we get. Like if we get because I mean we were funding for 25 grand and it was slow going, and we just kind of turned Facebook, because let's be honest, Facebook, it's not the best thing in the whole wide world. You know what I'm saying? But we kind of turned Facebook into our own little con. We would do these Facebook lives together, and people would come in, and Kevin would be like, all right, I'm drinking hot sauce today. Who's in? And it worked. Like, it got us a lot of pledges. It got us a lot of backers. So unfortunately, Kevin became, I guess, he became
fire breathing bearded dragon. It was like
a freak show. Like, Kevin's doing the stuff. I'm the carnival barker trying to bring everybody into it. I'm telling Kevin how it's going. It worked the other night too. We did a couple the other night, and Kevin was.
I did these the other night. I have them right here. They're Carolina Reaper almonds, and they're pretty hot.
Yeah, so I mean, desperate times, Ben, calls for desperate measures. Like, you just do what you got to do, you know.
So we may see some more hot sauce drinking here coming up soon.
It could happen. That's why I got the almonds this time. The almonds were to replace the hot sauce because they're Reaper almonds and they're just the hottest you can get. So I was like, okay, I can't find any Reaper where I live. I can't find any Reaper hot sauce. The hottest I could get was ghost pepper. So I'm gonna look. But I mean, I found a solution to that. It just depends on, and it can't just be 12.6 that gets us there. We're going to have to go over that.
Kevin, I think we already found a solution. Ben's shop, has hot sauce from all over. He could always recommend it. We could buy some from him, and you could just start pounding shots, baby.
Start doing it. Yes.
and they have a pug on their comics, so and we own a pug. So.
Oh, that's perfect. I have 2 pugs that run around the shop with me every day.
Yeah, so we love pugs here. We have a pug named Pearl. She's delicious.
Kevin and I were talking about this because we recently went to a signing together. I was at his house and I met his pug. How did these things survive in the wild?
They don't.
Like, with the big eyes and the nose and they never snuck up on. They just starved. Like, these are natural dogs.
There's a great thing on the internet where they show a picture of a wolf, and it says, I'm hungry. Maybe I should go see what those humans have. And then it says 2,000 years later, and it shows the pug with a party hat. Just all downhill for these things.
Pugs are beautiful little pooches, though. They're so much fun. You just look at that's awesome.
Yeah, the little teddy bears.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for joining me, guys. I appreciate it. Go.
Thank you for having us on.
Yes, go check out the Kickstarter, everybody. See what they have. Pledge, of course, and then we will follow up with you guys and find out how things are going here before the end.
You'll know if you see Kevin drinking hot sauce on the internet, Ben. You know how it's going.
And eating flaming. Maybe I'll just be like do some Evel Knievel stunts in the backyard, like a flaming trampoline of death.
Yeah. Yes, that'll do it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys, and everybody watching. Please go over, at least take a peek. If you like what you see, pledge, because as you've heard from them, this is not just there's a lot of people involved, there's a lot of work involved, and there's a lot of passion involved, and that's why we're doing this, just to let you guys see what we think is worth supporting on Kickstarter. So we'll see you guys in the shop, and of course, check out their Kickstarter.